Welcome everyone. So as you've already seen, we've been tearing down this here 11-1 Detroit. This is Series 60. I believe it's in the 90s era, not really sure, but a little backstory. I picked this engine up. Actually, I picked up a couple trucks with both had 11-1 Detroits in them, and plans of rebuilding one for myself and using it in possibly another truck project that I want to do. That's all in the future, but anyhow, I more or less, this was already halfway torn down. Somebody had taken the head off it. They've already robbed some parts off it, but I bought 2 trucks in hopes to make one good engine. So anyhow, that's more or less what leads us to the teardown. I'm just trying to inspect and see what is wrong with this engine, because somebody had already taken number 5 rod and piston out of this thing, and the head didn't go back together properly, so the rest of the cylinders were full of water, as you probably saw in the video there. So more or less what we've been doing is just trying to see if, okay, is this a good engine? Is this a good core? I paid accordingly. I didn't give a whole lot for this engine if, you know, for some reason it wasn't a good engine, but I believe we're good here. I don't know why they parked it necessarily. I got a little bit of a story, and it's not worth telling. So anyhow, I'm more or less just been finding out, trying to figure out if this is a good core for me, and that's more or less where we're at. Plans are to rebuild this engine. I don't know how it'll probably be quite a while before we get to that, but I guess we'll call this you know, Detroit 11-1 teardown part 1 or something like that. So this is part 1 of a couple. Now all I've done so far is take you know, the head was already off of it, pan was already off of it. Well, I mean, I took that off yesterday, and we just pulled out, you know, the rods and pistons so that we can more or less turn the crank over to see if the crank spins, and it does. I'll show you in a second. But anyhow, that's all. It's probably going to be a short video. I don't really know, but let me show you guys what I found so far. So as I mentioned, this is number 5. This is the one they pulled out, and as you can see, there's some scoring in here. I don't know if this was the reason, if it was making a noise. Honestly, I'm not really sure what the, why they took it apart to take this off. I have no idea. But the rest of these are the ones that had all the water in them, so they're not looking too hot. This one here was the was closest to the top of the liner, so back in there is still pretty clean, but the rest of them not too good. So I already knew we were going to rebuild, put all new liners in it and everything, but more or less what I was trying to figure out is if this thing would spin over or not, and which it does. It spins over free. Once I got all the pistons out of it, pistons, rods, it spins 360, no problems there. So all the rod journals look decent. There's a little bit of scoring in some of them, but we should be able to clean them up easily. Have not checked the mains, but judging by how easy it spins over, and I don't hear any grinding noises or anything, I think it's going to be just fine. So I was going to pull the crank out this evening, but I don't want to do that just yet, just because the next time I come back to this, it's probably going to be a while. So best thing to do is just leave it in there. It's best, it's safest in here rather than pulling it out and standing up and falling over or something like that. So gonna leave it like this, but I just wanted to, I don't know, like I said, not a lot going on in this video other than tearing this thing apart. Next up will be, I'm gonna pull the front cover, and I will separate the two, pull the front cover, pull the crank out, inspect the bull gear in here and everything else, and I want to pull the crank out so that I can pressure wash it, get it painted, get it looking nice again. And then when I have the time and the money to throw in this thing, then we will throw some, more or less put it back together, get it built, and then it'll be ready to go. Whether I sell it or whether I put it in a truck, it's kind of, I bought it to put it in a truck, but if it sells, I can rebuild another one. So that's more or less what we got going on here. So a lot of these, it's kind of hard to see, but a lot of these have been stamped multiple times. But how I figured out, because I took them out and then realized they weren't numbered correctly, but how I figured it out was somebody had scored the other side, so there are score marks that line up on all of them. This one looks like, was this number 1? I can't remember which one this was, but this one has the most wear in it out of all of them that I've seen. This one here is about the same too, though. So they're not horrible, but obviously not great. So like I said, there's some scoring in them, but overall decent I think. So anyhow, I think we've got a good block here. We've got good crank, so we should be able to put it back together, no problem. Like I said, it may be a while before we get around to the next part of either tearing it down or putting it back together, but this is up and coming, more or less. So last thing before we go, Home Depot got me again, and I picked up this here 3/8 Milwaukee mid-torque, I guess you call them. So you got the shorty. This one here is obviously a little bit longer, but I picked these up because I felt like there was a void in between I have the 12 volt or the M12 stubby 3/8, and it does, I love that thing, nice and compact, but I felt like there was a void, that I was needing something between this and the high torque 1/2 inch. And let me tell you what, I really like these, really enjoyed them. They worked out well. This is about the second day I used these to pull the engine out of the truck, and I used them now to more or less tear this thing down, and I love them. They're just initially, they're not as heavy, obviously. They got enough power to, break free. Obviously, we'll put them to test here, maybe in the future, but really enjoy them. So if you're in the market, you're on the fence, I like them. So after that, I guess we will leave you all to this. Look forward to the next part here sometime in the future. Like I said, it'll probably be a while, but hopefully get back to work on this thing, finish tearing it down, so that way whenever we're ready to rebuild, we can just start throwing pieces in it. So appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you all on the next video. Thanks, guys.